Welcome, everyone, to the Codex Podcast, Episode 9. As usual, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger, and with me, also as usual, is my co-host, Jamie Wojcik.
Yes, I am. How's it going, everybody?
I'm excited for today. We will be doing our first movie review, and that is of The Suicide Squad. Not Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, which just came out a few days ago, August 6th.
Yeah.
We'll also be reviewing the What If comic, What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires?
Yeah, we will. It's going to be a fun-packed episode. As usual, we got a lot of news this week. I can't wait to go over everything.
Yeah, I'm excited. And like I said earlier, if you didn't catch the pre-show, you can always catch the pre-show on Twitch.tv or Twitch.tv. Jamie, I'll let you do it. Where do you find us?
Oh, Twitch.tv/Codex Podcast. I'm quick on that. I don't stop on that one.
That one you got it. That one you're better at me then. I give you that. I want to try to verse you and who's better at doing that. So and then you can catch our pre-show always at 5 o'clock. And we were talking about some things we're going over today. Sometimes we'll talk about what we did last week. And I'm really excited for what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about today. But without further ado, let's get ready to our comic book news. Okay, Jamie, are you ready to tell us about the Nathan Fillion Civilian Pavilion?
Yeah, that's a mouthful. So if anyone doesn't know who Nathan Fillion is, you've been living under a rock for the last, 10 years. It was part of Firefly for that amazing one season that they had. And he's also TDK in The Suicide Squad, which we'll be reviewing later today. But from everything that I've been reading and everything that's been gathered up, he was taking old parking lots and rejuvenating them, making them all like green fields. So that way, it just looked better. They were putting parks on them, everything. Well, people came out and did a what do you call it? Almost like a survey. Like we want to go forth and name it, Nathan Fillion Civilian Pavilion. Say that 10 times fast. It's impossible. I've tried. Yeah. And they got enough signatures. It obviously worked out for them. But the cool thing was the whole cast of the Suicide Squad came out and basically said, we should do this. Like, do it. Yes, they were behind them 110%. And to see that come out of a movie with a large group of people, which a lot of the time someone doesn't like somebody and they won't do it, but everyone was backing him and backing this. So it was great to see in not just that comic book world ideal, but as just people trying to show support.
Yeah. It's nice too, like I said, not just the comic book world, but also, like I said, to see in filmmaking finally everybody backing each other up. And like you said, in the movie, obviously has big stars, Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, they all got behind this, and they were getting behind it as well.
Yeah, it definitely was amazing.
The Fillion Pavilion.
Oh, dude, I can't, that's the biggest tongue twister I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I was making sure. I was practicing earlier today before we started.
I could see you standing in front of the mirror just being like, Nathan Fillion Civilian Pavilion, over and over again. And that's why you were late to the getting on. I know this now.
Maybe. See, so now you know it was worth it. Why, but when 5 o'clock came, I was here.
Oh yeah, that was fun. But you're like, I gotta use the bathroom. I'm like, he's probably practicing the line right now.
I had to trim the mustache a little bit, make sure it's all nice and pretty for everybody.
Yeah, I look like I got hit by a weed whacker.
They're doing well. Speaking of getting hit by things, Jamie has a tornado by him, and he's been fighting this tornado to make sure we have a good episode today.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your fight with the tornado.
Dude, it's been 2 weeks of straight bad storms out here in Wisconsin. It's been nuts. But yeah, I left early a little bit from work because I didn't get to take a lunch. We were super busy, so they're like, you can leave a half hour early. So I was like, yay, cool. We can get home, set up a couple things. I'm looking, and there's a tornado warning for us. And as I'm driving, you can see the cloud funneling down, and I'm like, that's near my town. it actually was. It ended up going next town over, but I was like, oh, please don't do anything bad because I want to do the stream today and want to make sure everyone gets this for YouTube and Spotify and now Apple Podcasts since we're officially on there.
That's right.
And I called you on the way. I'm like, dude, I am looking at this right now driving. This is intense.
Did you take pictures of it like I told you?
Yeah, I was doing like 75. I was like, I ain't stopping to take pictures. It would have came out one big blur. It would look like a gray flash. Like that's all it would look like.
You should have got right in front of it, took some pictures, and then punched it in the eye.
But to those who want to know, I did win.
Yes, and I would have placed my money on you to win again.
Oh.
Jamie's always beating up tornadoes.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, he's actually undefeated against tornadoes in fist fights. What a man, my co-host.
Yeah, I'm just that manly of a man.
Yep. Speaking of manly man, let's talk about a bit of a manly woman.
Ooh, nice segue.
Yeah, the Winter Hulk. Yeah. So, spoiler warning for Avengers 47. They are going through the World War She-Hulk story arc right now, and for the first time ever, everyone got to see Winter Hulk, or they should say Winter She-Hulk. She got a new look, and for me, I've got to do a little bit of talking about She-Hulk's new look, or how she's been looking lately. If you saw my promo before episode 1, there's a part I even said, back when our comics, our women look like women. And the one I had in mind was She-Hulk. How she has gone from, back in the day, she was very womanly. If she was real and she was walking down the street, she'd turn a lot of heads, and not just because she's green. Whereas now, She-Hulk is basically like the Hulk, but with long hair. So now in her new Winter Hulk outfit, she's red and has long blonde hair. And, I always try to be nice, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't have much more to say, but yeah, I don't like the direction She-Hulk's been going in for many years. Jamie, what do you think of it?
Okay, so I've actually been reading the Avengers since it started. And Jason Aaron has been the writer on it. If anyone doesn't know who Jason Aaron is, go look him up. He's been on Thor for, I think it was like 15 years altogether. He's getting a lot of flack for this Avengers whole run that he's been doing because there's been some horrible arcs so far. But I did like She-Hulk at the beginning when they started it. They had a little relationship, love entanglement between her and Thor, which I thought was cool. But yeah, as for this winter She-Hulk thing, I don't know how I feel about it. I just don't know. I can't tell you. I read the first issue where it's like introducing it and her into it, but I just don't think it's gonna be as good as Hulk in general.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like I haven't been reading this, so I don't want to say like, oh, it's definitely gonna be so great or so bad. I haven't read it. Just for me looking at it, I'm not liking the way she's looking, but I haven't read the story, so
yeah, the first impressions are always everything.
Read it. Yeah, I'll leave it to people who've actually read.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it turns out, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't have high expectations.
Hey, sometimes it's better that way when you don't have a high expectation, and then it seems to be better.
Yeah, but no, I agree with the way she looks now because she did not look like that at the beginning of the series. It took a turn for the worst.
Yeah. Poor She-Hulk. May she find her way back to her old self.
Yeah.
But now let's move on to one thing that has probably been the dream of many men. Why the Last Man trailer?
Oh, yes.
You sent this to me. I was not too familiar with it, but you sent me the trailer. I saw it. I think it looks pretty good. It looks different. And like I said, I'm like, I bet you this is what many people probably dreamed about.
Yeah.
Jamie?
No. Why the Last Man? I thought the trailer was good. I thought it was, it's going to be on FX and Hulu, I believe.
Yep.
It's written by Brian K. Vaughan. For those, again, who don't know who Brian K. Vaughan is he's written things as Paper Girls, Saga. He did some work on The Walking Dead for some miniseries off to the side. He's Why the Last Man. I thought that it was kind of a risky move right now for this trailer to come out at this time. Because it does deal with people are getting infected and they're just dropping. And so many shows, and that's why I sent you the trailer, because so many shows right now are backing away from anything that has to do with a virus being released or people getting sick and people dying. I thought it was more controversial of putting it out there than it was anything else. That's why I sent it to you, because I'm just like, they're going for it. They really are.
I think it's going to pay off. I think people are going to be interested in seeing something like that.
Yeah, it did.
When the pandemic first happened, there was the movie, man, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it.
Songbird?
With Morgan Freeman.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the one with Morgan Freeman, Dustin Hoffman. I'm going to remember
Outbreak.
As soon as we finish the episode.
No.
Outbreak.
There we go.
Outbreak. When the pandemic hit, Outbreak was super popular. The views were ridiculous. It was the number one movie on Netflix because it was about an outbreak. So I can see this actually being a positive thing, releasing it.
I do agree in some aspects, but it was like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There was a big story plot within the show where the antagonists, because I don't think you've seen it yet, so I don't want to give too much away for you, but the antagonists were supposed to set off bombs that caused the virus and killed people, basically. And they actually, in the middle of the show, stopped, rewrote it, and then the show we got was a totally different show. Because they didn't want...
They never went through.
Yeah, no, they never went through with it, and they didn't want the narrative of that, from what I was reading from other articles prior. They didn't want to be like, well, we were the show that had, this during the pandemic, and there's a lot of shows that are staying away from that. And it's just, the one that, or with Why the Last Man, and then is Sweet Tooth on Netflix. Sweet Tooth is basically the same thing, but a little bit different because you're dealing with hybrid people animals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it to me is just a big move during a bad time, but I hope you're right in that regard, that it turns out to be phenomenal. I read a little bit of Why the Last Man. I haven't fully finished it. I'm trying to pick it up in trade, but I hope it does it justice, and I really do hope people just jump right on it. I hope it's as good as when Walking Dead premieres.
Okay. I said, well, if they want to make the show a little realistic, and he's the last man, I'm guessing he'd probably be very busy getting jiggy with quite a few of the ladies. I mean, to save a species, to save the human race.
Yeah.
If he's the last man, he's got a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah. From what I've read so far, it's gonna be. You're just gonna see it a lot. I mean, I wish this was something that was on like HBO Max, so they could kind of bump that the rating to mature.
FX can show a lot.
Yeah, they can.
It's not sure they could do a lot. Yeah.
But it in my mind, I see it as a different, I don't know, a different idea all the way around.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I watch a lot of things on FX. It's one channel that I definitely watch a lot of things on. So
yeah, like Fargo. If you didn't know that, Sonny, it was one of the extras on Fargo. See, I plugged for you. Look at that.
Thank you. Yeah, you get to see me. Season 4, episode 8, and one of the biggest shootouts of the show. And you can see I only have a mustache, and I get shot.
Yeah, and then when they pass him, you actually see him move.
Yeah. So you get to see me.
You
don't have to pause. Like the other shows. If you pause at this moment, you kind of see me a little bit blurry, whereas in Fargo, you're able to see me.
He's the only dead guy that actually has movement. It's amazing. No.
That's it. I live. Mustache Sonny lives to tell the tale.
Yeah.
A fool can't stop Mustache Sonny.
Never count on Mustache Sonny.
Yeah, like I said, never.
Yeah.
Mustaches, they make you more powerful and more tough. You got me when I have my mustache, and you got Freddie Mercury. We're just mustaches. They're great. So now we can move on from mustaches and being the last man, you know, getting jiggy with all those ladies. If it's real, they'll make him get busy with a lot of ladies. But I think he's probably just going to fall in love with like one woman.
Yeah.
And he's really going to be thinking about anything else, any kind of fun. But now we can move on to something that is hopefully a fun movie. Justice League 2 coming out in 2 weeks. Now I'm joking. Justice League producer Charles Roven says that it's probably going to take years before it is released. All I really have to say about that is, obviously, no, I don't think anybody was expecting Justice League 2 to come out this year or pretty much even next year. I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be years before it's released. Jamie, you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think if it's not Snyder doing it, then there should be no reason for it to be Justice League 2. I think it should realistically just restart. I mean, it might be a second Justice League movie, but it's not the second part of the Justice League movie. At this point, you got a whole new cast, a whole new crew. You're going to have moving forward Robert Pattinson as Batman. I mean, if you do something like we've talked about previously with The Flash and just kind of reset the timeline and use that as your out, and then start with who you guys, as Jason Momoa as Aquaman, you could have The Flash still as much as I don't want it to be, Ezra Miller, and you can use Battison as Batman, and then that can kind of segue into your next Justice League movie. But I wouldn't call it a Justice League 2. I'd just be like, this is the new Justice League.
Yeah, we'll see. Because has it been confirmed that Robert Pattinson's Batman will be in like the DCU? Like he's gonna be always Batman?
He's signed on. He's signed on for, I think it's like a 5-movie deal.
Okay, then that sounds like it's gonna be, whether you like it or not, Robert Pattinson's for quite a while.
Yeah, unless he hates it and just leaves, which is most people's ideal. But I think he'll. Like I said, we talked about it on our uncensored bonus episode, which you can catch over on YouTube right now. I think it's gonna have to wait and see. It can't be. We can't set anything in stone yet. I like Sonny had alluded to in the episode. Michael Keaton was Batman, and people were like, "What?" Same thing with Heath Ledger as the Joker. Excuse me. And it was just, it's another one of those. Like, you're not gonna know the performance until you see him do it.
Yeah. And one thing, like how we were talking about Justice League, and we mentioned the special uncensored episode, I liked at one part, our special guest, Keith, referred to Jason Momoa as Jason Mimosa.
Yes. That was, yeah. that was funny.
I did like Jason Mimosa.
Yeah. And then we had to kind of look at him for a second, like, did he really just say mimosa?
It was a fun episode. I loved watching it. I loved going over it again, watching it. It was really fun. I especially love that part when I won and became Sonny, the king of comic books Kruger.
Oh, the king of can't let this go. Don't worry. September's just around the corner, buddy. It'll be tied. Right. It'll be tied 1-1, and then you're gonna have to eat everything you've said when I beat you for the third time.
1-0. You have not beaten me yet.
You're gonna be 2-1 by the time we get done with this.
We shall see. You will see that I know my stuff. But we'll get on to that more later. We get a little bit closer to that special episode and rematch if Jamie's up for it.
Oh, yes.
So, next thing is the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Bautista work on Guardians of the Galaxy. Jamie, I'll leave this one. I'll let you take this one away.
All right, yeah. It for the most part, they've been saying James Gunn is on his last movie for Volume 3 since he was fired before. Dave Bautista's been on the way out the door since James Gunn got fired, and he wanted him back. They finally got him back. there was talks of Drax having his own solo thing, and it just didn't pan out. So I think it's a great idea for both of them to be done after this. I know James Gunn went on record saying how there's going to be people either, I think it was dying or ending in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I'm just kind of excited to see where it goes from there, because we know if it's Dave Bautista's last time, which they have obviously confirmed, he's gone somehow, and I want to know.
Yeah, but I like Drax. I hope they don't have to kill Drax, but we shall see. I'm sure it'll be good. I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I think this is probably going to be the last time we see, especially James Gunn attached to it. Like, how now he's attached to, the Suicide Squad. I think I said after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that'll be it. He'll be done with it, and he's going to move on to taking over the Suicide Squad series.
Yeah, and they have said with James Gunn, with WB, that they're basically giving him free reign. You can pick any comic book movie you want, and it is yours. So I'm excited for... I think he's just going to jump straight to DC, which would be amazing, because we need that right now.
Yes, DC does.
Yes.
And yeah, I love his style. I'll get more into it later on when we do our review for the Suicide Squad. But yeah, I think it's really a smart move having him attached to any superhero movie, especially the ones like those style, like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. But talk about movies that came out today. Also, we talked about in our pre-show. Today is the premiere of the What If series on Disney Plus, and neither of us have gotten to watch it yet, but we talked about it. We will definitely get to watching it soon. And those of you who know me, know a lot that I like What Ifs, and even today we'll be discussing a What If comic later on. But so about the What If series, Jamie, is there an episode you're looking forward to the most?
Yes, I'm looking forward to Boseman's last performance, which I didn't know, but he's actually in 2 episodes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's not just in 1, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to, which I believe is in there, is the Marvel Zombies What If.
Yeah, that'll be in there, yeah.
Yeah, that one I'm definitely, because I did like the original series when it came out. So yeah, so I can't wait for that episode to premiere. I'm excited for the episode that premiered today, and as soon as I get off the stream, I'm probably gonna go sit down and watch it. So
cool. Yeah, me too. I guess I'd say the most one is the Chadwick Boseman last performance, but now I didn't realize there was 2. I know there's one where it's like fusing Guardians of the Galaxy and Yondu was his dad. Do you know what the other one is or no?
I think he's part of, he's part of the Avengers, I believe.
Okay.
Because I know the one that you're talking about, he is Star-Lord for the Guardians of the Galaxy. But the second one I'm not 100% on, because I was reading about it. I didn't want to read the title of it because I want to kind of be surprised on it. But they did say he had 2 performances in it.
Okay, well, that's good. Good surprising news that I didn't know, because I was expecting 1 episode, so 2 is better than 1. Okay, now for the big, hot news that some people are going to love, and some people are going to say some people are going to say it's so great. Some people are going to say it's the worst news of the year. Tim Drake going on a date with Jamie Wojcik. Well, not really Jamie, but going on a date with a man. Jamie, I'll let you take this one away, since you're very big into DC and Robin and all of them.
Oh yeah, thank you, Sonny. And yes, I will let you know how that date goes.
Good luck, man.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this now. Are you ready for me to go on a rant? Because I'm about to go on a rant on this.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
Sit back, relax, enjoy your water, and let's get into this. So I'm going to say this now. Follow me with this to the end, because I'm going to say something at the beginning that people might think I'm kind of being shady about, but I promise you I'm not.
Cancelled.
Yeah. I don't care at this point about his sexuality. The only reason that I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. I'm saying it as, when I started reading comics, it was for 2 reasons. A, I escaped all reality. It gave me a vice. It gave me a medium where I could literally sit there and just get away from the world. And I still do it to this day. That's why I love it. Number two, and this is the most important one, is it gave me a character I could relate to. Everyone finds it in this community. Everyone finds it when they read comics. There's always a character that's going to be like them. They have the same traits. They have the same fears. They have all these things. The problem that I'm having with this news breaking is every character, we have people of color. We have people with disabilities. All of them have been written well. Everybody that's either gay, bisexual, whatever it may be, they haven't had good stories on them. None of them. Like, I want maybe one, I think, was Alan Scott when they did Earth 2. And you heard about it at the beginning, because that's how he got his powers. Basically, the guy he was seeing died on a train. Then he was resurrected as the Green, and he was, that's basically how he got his powers. But as for the rest of them, they really, like Kate Kane, for instance, Batwoman. Her first series came out with the New 52. I picked it up. It was around the time that they announced that, what's her name? Ruby Rose? Mm-hmm. That she got announced as Batwoman. I was reading it, and literally it talked about, I think it was 40 issues. Maybe 6 of those issues were concerning deeply into her relationship. 6, but then they were forgettable. There was nothing there. You look at someone like Midnighter. He's a gay character. I love Midnighter. I'm going to be the first one to admit his power set is awesome. When you can replicate someone's attacks and know what they're doing before they know. Amazing character. They had him in Grayson. And he made the joke of when Grayson was running away, basically that, wow, Robin doesn't have a nice, and then, but, and then they had like his own solo, I think it was 8 issues. They hit on his relationship, but then it still, again, went nowhere. So my problem is I don't care if he's bisexual or not at this point. Write him well for the people or the audience that want to see it. That want that to be like that compelling, you grab me by the neck, now you got me, what's going to happen next? And I hope they do. They just came out during Pride Month with a whole issue based solely on gay, bisexual, whatever it may be characters. Why didn't you drop the news then? You're going to drop the news in Batman Urban Legends number 6, the last issue? Okay, where are we going with that then? What's next? He's going to be maybe in a couple issues of Detective Comics because that's where he primarily is. It doesn't add up to me. And I don't think that, I feel like it's going to be one of those things like an Alan Scott, because what they did with him was stupid. And I'm going to be honest. One minute he was the first Green Lantern, totally straight, has kids, turned him gay. After that, went back to him being straight. Did the whole thing, him being straight, then now all of a sudden he's gay again. It's like you need to pick what you're going to do, cement it, and stop trying to retcon it. If this news is 100%, I'm happy. If they're going to say a year from now that, oh yeah, we're going to throw that out the window, it ain't worth it. It's not. You're hurting an audience that wants that. And if you're going to hurt that audience and not, tailored to what they are, don't do it. It makes zero sense to me. Well, am I going to read something if they come out with a Tim Drake series about it? Yes, 100%. But do it right. Do it justice. End of my rant.
All right, there you go. Good. Yeah, make sure I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted to let you go on. Yeah, but yeah, so that's good. And even too, I'm glad, like you said, you're not just like all about the sexuality of the characters. Sometimes you just want to get to the story. And like me, I'm someone, like I always say, I love a good story. And if you can make a good story, then I'm on it. I want to read it, I want to enjoy it, but I don't just make somebody gay just to be like, oh, we need something to push the story or just to get an audience. Do it if it goes with the story. And then, there's obviously been all the jokes for countless amount of, decades about Robin and, the super short shorts. But the one thing with me is I'm not too much of a fan when they take comic characters that have been established for many years and then say, we'll make them gay. Because you and I, we both know many gay people. We have friends, family even too, from the LGBTQ plus community, right?
Right.
And I've never known anybody who was like, yeah, I was straight for 30 years, and then one day I broke up with a woman and was like, oh yeah, I think I'm gay. I've never known anybody like that. I mean, there's been people who stayed in the closet and then they came out, but that's the one thing what gets me with comics is if they're gonna make a character gay, make them pretty much realistic. Don't suddenly one day they realize they're gay.
No, I get that aspect from where you're coming. That's what I'm saying. But now if they're gonna make this what it is, keep it. Don't get rid of it. Don't go back on your word.
I like what you said when you did say, okay, if you're going to go forward with the character being gay or bisexual, keep them that way. Don't flip-flop and back and forth. Then it really kind of takes away the statement they went for. And then even too, I like when there are certain characters, sometimes when there's maybe a new character, and you make that character, like a couple weeks ago, we were talking, and we brought up the character Dakin. It is Dakin, right? Not Draken, it's Dakin, Wolverine's son.
Yeah.
So we said Dakin is bisexual, and I think he's a cool character. He's tough, and hey, he happens to like men and women. Okay, that's just a part of who he is. It doesn't need to be, oh, I love him because of this, or oh, I don't like him because of this. It's just a part of who he is. So in that case, where you said, hey, I don't care, I think you're like me in that case. Where if they're a good character, I'm for it, and I don't like anybody less or more based on their sexuality.
Yeah, and that was what I was trying to go for. Like, not go for, but what I'm trying to say, like, you have so many people, so many characters people can relate to, and that community doesn't, because they don't do it justice. And it's kind of sad. Like, you gave them a one-shot, single issue for the month, and now, all of a sudden, you're going to put Tim Drake on it now, and didn't put him in the issue. It would have been more of a shocker if it was in that issue.
Yeah, like I agree too that why did you do this during Pride Month? Why did you wait, 5 weeks later or something to do it?
Yeah, it was a couple months later, but yeah, it just like I said, it's at this point it's like a double-edged sword, but I want to see where it goes. I want to give it a chance, give it the leeway. The moment they start screwing it up, I'm gonna be like, I promise you, I will be on this podcast right now, like I am right now, and just tearing it apart because. Like, it doesn't matter to me, like, what your sexuality is, but if you are any of those, you should have the same respect and outlet as we do. The same relatability. And that is what I'm going for with this. Like, you need it. You deserve it, just like everybody else does.
Agreed. Nicely put, my friend. Okay, so, anything else? Any last minute comments about Tim Drake, any of our comic book news we went over?
Should have been Damien.
Should have been Jason Todd.
Oh, don't you did not. He died once already.
Yeah, I think he would have been a little bit different maybe if they're like, okay, now we're suddenly making Jason Todd.
Nah, I'd still feel the same, more than likely.
Yeah, if it could still be cool, yeah, then.
So, yep, I'm done. We can move on.
Yeah, like I said, if he was Red Hood and he was still cool, they just happened to be like that, he'd be cool. But if they changed him and suddenly he is in a fight and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I broke a nail, I can't fight," then that would not be good. No. I would not be a fan of that. Then I would complain, and I may have to go on a rant myself. But they didn't do that. I don't think they're going to do that with Tim Drake. I think he's still going to be pretty tough. Yeah. Okay. So now, from the vault. I don't have a mail call this week, but I have it from the vault. And we've been doing a lot of talking about What If, the premiere today. We're going to be reviewing What If Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires. So I thought my From the Vault would be my favorite What If. And this is a comic I got when I was a little kid. I believe I got it on a Christmas, and it was one of my favorite comics growing up. Like I said, I had it a long time. I went over it. I don't know how many times. I can't remember the last time I went over it. But my favorite What If is from the vault. It is What If Stryfe Killed the X-Men. So it's issue number 69 of What If, and it goes along with the Executioner Song story arc, which focused a lot on Stryfe and Cable and Apocalypse. So if you're fans of those characters, I definitely recommend Executioner Song. But yeah, so What If Stryfe Killed the X-Men was a comic I grew up loving. As I've gone over many times. It has many of the most popular X-Men characters. Like I said, you got Wolverine, Gambit, Cyclops, Cable, and it focused, like the Executioner Song storyline, really gave a spotlight to the character of Stryfe, who was probably one of my favorite villains, and I probably think the most underrated villain. And then obviously shows you, as you might have seen on the cover, Mr. Sinister is on one side of him, Apocalypse is on the other side. And this comic was just action-packed. It was fun. At the time when I first had it as a kid, I didn't have Executioner Song, so I just had this comic to go based on. And I was just like, this is just a super cool comic. It was fun. One of the ones I always went over. So it was a comic I grew up loving. And that is my From the Vault this week, What If Stryfe Killed the X-Men? And now for the first time, I know, Jamie, you have a From the Vault this week.
Yes, I do, and I am happy to actually bring one out because you were just talking about Red Hood. And I have Batman number, let me put it back here so people can see, 635. A little bit of a glare here because I got it in my case. But it is the first issue of the story arc of Red Hood and Jason Todd coming back. And it's written by Joe Winnick. Amazing story. The surprises, it just from beginning to end. I think the whole Red Hood arc itself culminates. I think it's 8 to 10 issues to tell the story, because they do involve some annuals in there too as well. But yeah, for the book itself, the art is amazing. Tells a great story, and if no one's had the chance yet, it keeps pretty close to Under the Red Hood, the animated movie, which is one of my favorite animated movies still to this day. But yeah, that's my From the Vault this week. I just, as soon as you said we're doing From a Vault, I was like, I gotta find this issue.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, I know you love Red Hood, and that's something how we just happen to be talking about Red Hood. So
yeah. And I'm also wearing the shirt.
There you go. All right, man. So there we go. Our From the Vault. I look forward to doing them again, sharing more of the comics that I grew up loving, and seeing some of the other ones that you love as well.
Yes.
Okay. So now on to our works. For me, I've been working every single day on my editing of the pilot for a series about a series every single day. But I won't give up. I'm learning more and more as I go along. And one day I will have it out there for everybody to have. So, like I said, for me, it's just editing every day of a series about a series. The book is still available online. You can read the whole thing, the whole season, on Wattpad, on my Son of the Writer page. You can read the whole series about a series as I edit the pilot, going over certain scenes over and over and over again, but I want it to be perfect. And like I said, I'm working towards my dreams, and I know that in the end of the day, all my time and effort, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, and
now
I was going to say, Sonny, we will be posting it's on Wattpad, right?
Wattpad, yeah.
We'll be posting the link in the description below for you guys if you guys want to go check out a series about a series. I know this is something Sonny's been working on forever, and I'm so happy that he's actually getting to the point where, hopefully, what do you think? You're about halfway?
For editing?
Yeah.
For the editing aspect, I'd say I'm near halfway.
Okay, good. No, I can't wait to see the finished product. I know how much work and determination and how many times you missed my calls just because of the fact that you're working on it, which, you can kind of return them, but never do. So, yeah, Sonny, I can't wait. is going to be great for those of you who, want to know more. Like I said, we're going to post the links down at the bottom and read it. Go now.
Thank you very much.
Stop. Just pause this and go read his series about a series. What are you doing? No, I'm kidding. Finish the podcast first and then click link. But yeah.
Now, Jamie, thank you for letting me talk about a series about a series. And now Jamie has huge news. I'm going to let you take it away for the Codex podcast, expanding everything that's been going on. Take it away, Jamie.
Oh, my God. I've been wanting to talk about this since it happened. I kind of posted about it on our social medias. Really didn't get a chance, which we will be posting something hopefully tomorrow, more about it. But we have premiered our second show, Decoding Panels. So now, every review we do for a comic, no matter what comic, trade, art, single issue, you will find the full story on Decoding Panels, broken down page by page. So that way, if you don't know what's going on and you want to actually catch up, you can go check it out, get the full summary, get the full scoop, and then see our reviews and tell us we're wrong. But no, we brought in another member, Mr. Tim Morse, who's been doing an amazing job cracking these out, which I'm very excited for. The first 2 episodes are up now on YouTube. We have Captain America Reborn, Who Wield the Shield, and we have The Incredible Hulk, issue 420. Both of them we have reviewed. And we do have one hopefully by the weekend, which we'll be putting up. So, with that being said, next week, I'm going to go on a little bit of ahead of here, Sonny. We will be having Tim on the Codex podcast. We'll be doing a couple different things with him. Episode like we were saying in the pre-show at twitch.tv/Codex podcast. Still got it, Sonny. We'll be doing a couple different things. With him on, it might be a little bit of a longer episode, but having him on, he comes with a wealth of comic book knowledge. I can't rave about the man enough, and he's absolutely killer on the mic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Decoding Panels right now, or after the podcast is over, before we do it, and then go check out Sonny's series about a series on Wattpad. Then go check out Decoding. It doesn't matter. Do them both. We encourage multitasking.
Yes. Yeah, see, we're giving you plenty of things to look forward to, plenty of things to keep you busy, having fun. You can read, you can watch, you can listen. We're everywhere.
Yes. And I am excited to say that there is more in the works for our works coming within the next couple months, and we will be talking about that more as we go. But as of right now, guys, we're expanding. We're doing so much to get you guys as much content as possible, so that way you guys aren't behind on anything.
That is right. And glad we got to talk about our works. Now we move on to the topic of the week. And this week's topic of the week is, who is the best pet in comic books? Jamie, you have our top 3 picks of the week.
Yes, I do. So the first one, which is no shock to anybody, comes from David Schlussler Jr. I will go Superman and Krypto. I can only imagine the stories you can make besides the ones he's already read. Man's Best Friend, though, is my ultimate favorite. I've got all the appearances of Streaky, Super Horse, Super Monkey, but I still don't have the first Krypto. It's just too expensive. David, I feel you on that. So many issues I want are just so much money, and I try my hardest, and I just can't get them, but I will one day. I refuse to buy trades of series I already have. So, next one. Jeremy Bill. He says, when Artie, which I'm assuming, not assuming, I definitively I think no, is Atrocitus, was about to die from having his heart consumed. Dexstar, which is a Red Lantern cat, I'm just trying to preface for you guys. Dexstar used his newfound construct powers to build his master a new heart so that he could live. That puts Dexstar's head, shoulders, and tails above the rest. And lastly, we have Jackson King. His is very short and to the point, but I picked it because of the fact that I do agree with this pick. He didn't give a lot of information, but if you know him, you know him. The Inhumans with Lockjaw. He said because you could teleport anywhere. But I do agree with the Lockjaw one. We didn't, like, the Inhumans TV series didn't do him justice, but in the comics, he is a force to be reckoned with. So, Sonny, I think I'm going to give you this one on who is your favorite pet in superhero comics.
All right. Well, yes, actually, Lockjaw is actually a very good pick. But I say for DC, I'm going to go with Crypto. It's hard to go against him. You know, I'm not too familiar with too many of the pets. You know, so I picked this question. I'm like, you know what? I want to more learn from the answers and see about pets and then look more into them. But yeah, Crypto is probably the most known pet in all of comic books. You know, he's Superman's loyal dog. And so when I love my dog, so Crypto gets it for me for DC. He's the most epic pet I've seen in all comics. And for Marvel, I'm going to go with Kitty Pryde's pet dragon, Lockheed. So as you know, I read a lot of X-Men, especially stuff from the 80s, 90s, and many times Kitty Pryde had her pet dragon, Lockheed, by her side, and Lockheed is a nice dragon and has been there at the side for many little things, and at points maybe would fly away when needed, come back, help out in little ways. And it's just a nice little dragon to have around. And I would like to see Lockheed premiere or be in a live action movie one day. So for me, DC, I go with Crypto. For Marvel, I go with Lockheed.
Good picks. So since we're going with both, for DC, I have to go with him. He is technically a pet, but not one you would think. I gotta go with Jarro. I don't know if you know too much about Jarro, Sonny. I think you've maybe seen me post a few times about him, but he is Starro's kind of like offspring that Batman kept and put him in a jar, so they call him Jarro. But he calls Batman Dad. He wants to be everything he can for him, and they even got a panel of him in like a dream sequence of him as Robin saving the day. And it is amazing.
I saw that panel.
Yes, and it is amazing. I read that whole issue. I was like, I want a Jarro so bad. Now, if we're going to go with Marvel, I'm going to go with Throg, which technically isn't a pet, but he is a Thor and a frog. So I'm going to go with Throg on this one. I think that as far as powers go, aside from, Crypto, we're talking the Marvel side, Throg's got all the assets you need. And the fact that he could wield a mini hammer is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so cool. And then, basically, I got to check out that Jarro issue. Some of those are, if you could let me know some issues that, focus more on Jarro, I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, I'll send you a couple of links when we're done.
Yeah, especially that one, because I've seen the panel, the picture of Jarro dressed as Robin.
Yeah, he's like, I'm coming to save you, Dad. And I'm like, aw.
And that's exactly right there. You're talking about that. That's why I wanted to do this topic of the week, is because I wanted to learn about more of the pets. And now I'm very happy with the result.
And we were stemming this based off of the announcement of DC's, Legion of the Super Pets, that's going to be coming out with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Crypto. And probably, since he's a part of it, Kevin Hart's going to be there, and Sonny will not watch the movie. So I'll do a review for it. Don't worry.
It's a movie? It's not going to be a show?
I believe it's a movie. A full-length movie. I think it's going to be in theaters.
Well, maybe I'll watch it, Kevin Hart sometimes pays me to watch his movies. Yeah. And that's just a complete lie. So, who knows? Maybe I'll watch it.
You're a liar. Why you got to lie live? Liar, you big phony.
I've learned from my co-host. He has taught me a lot. He has.
Don't talk about Tim like that. He's not here to defend himself.
My co-host Jamie has made me into the king of lies himself.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm so glad that you're saying this. I'm editing this part out just to let you know. No, I'll keep it. It's funny. I laughed.
More lies.
I know. I'm not happy.
But one thing that is not a lie, not joking, is that now we get onto our review. And the comic we are reviewing this week, it was given to us by Tim Morse. And it is, what if Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires? And I must say, Tim, it's like the guy knows me already. He picked out basically the perfect comic for me to review. It's What If, it has the X-Men, it has the Punisher, and it has vampires. So I was like, wow. I was like, I already know I'm pretty much going to like this. So, what if Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires? And X-Men issue 159, the X-Men battled Dracula. Spoiler warning, they beat Dracula. But this is what if, obviously, Dracula got the better of them. And he turns them into vampires. But, obviously, he turned Wolverine into a vampire. Wolverine takes over, and he becomes, as the comic is called, Lord of the Vampires. But Wolverine not only becomes a vampire, but he gets the evil around us that went with Dracula. And, the one who was the vampire before Dracula. So all that evil goes into Wolverine, and he leads the X-Men, the now vampire X-Men, to just take on everybody. They take out the New Mutants, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They go to New York, and they're just taking out everybody, turning everyone into vampires. And it kind of seems like, was Doctor Strange the man to take him on? And then we meet Vampire Juggernaut. Doctor Strange's cape, or cloak, whatever you want to refer to it as, goes to somebody else worthy. It goes to Frank Castle the Punisher. He gets the cape, he's already got his guns, and he starts taking on all the vampires. Okay, so we got the Punisher with the cape on, taking on all the vampires, so they're now even superheroes that have been turned to vampires, and he meets up with Wolverine, the Lord of the Vampires, and it is quite a battle that I really enjoyed. I'm not going to give it away at the end, in case you feel like reading it and not having it spoiled for you. But I love this comic. Like I said, I felt like it was a perfect pick for me. As a single issue goes, I loved it. If I didn't, I wondered, earlier in the day when I talked about what if Stryfe killed the X-Men, and it was, one of my favorite comics growing up. When I read this issue, I thought, imagine if I had both issues. I wonder what would be my favorite, which I would like better. Mm-hmm. But obviously, they're different. I didn't grow up with this one. I read it now, and I loved it. I thought it was an amazing issue. And I give What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice score there, Sonny. Sorry, I had to mute it for a second. Something fell in the background, and it kind of threw me off. Yeah, but no, this single issue had just about everything a comic book fan of Marvel would want. You hit most of the main, aspects of what happened, the highlights. One of my favorites was that they threw Doctor Strange to, the alligators. And Wolverine was basically like, I don't care. Or Juggernaut's like, what do you want me to do with him? Wolverine's basically like, hey, just throw him to the alligators. So I don't want any part of him to come back. I don't want no chance here. But yeah, between Zombie Juggernaut, Frank Castle getting the cape, the interactions between all of them, it was something that it took every aspect of what I think a comic should have in it. And I think, Sonny, for the first time, you actually are going to be surprised. I give What If Wolverine Was the Lord of the Vampires a 10 out of 10.
Woo,
yeah.
Nice.
There's a few things I didn't quite understand in it because, obviously not a big X-Men fan. I did love the fact that Moon Knight was referenced in this issue. But yeah, just the way it's told, at the pace that it's told. I mean, it is a narrative-driven story. I think it is probably one of my favorite What If stories. I have a few, but not as many as you. But yeah, this one takes the cake. So 10 out of 10 for me, 9.5 for Sonny.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. And I found that part real quick that you were referring to with Wolverine turning Juggernaut. Yeah, he says, because Juggernaut mentions and calls him Wolverine, and he says, Lord Wolverine to you and all vampires, Marco. And then he says for Doctor Strange, toss it into the crock pit and let our white albinos do a job on it. And then you hear all the...
Yeah.
So, that was the part you were talking about.
Yes, that was the exact part.
All right, there we go. It's a fun issue this week. What if Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires? And now we get on to our next section, our first time ever doing a movie review. This weekend, we were both able to watch The Suicide Squad. And now we will be reviewing it for the first time. Jamie, I will let you go first.
Yeah, so this is not the second installment of this Suicide Squad, but it's the second installment of the Suicide Squad. Makes a lot of sense, I know, but this is directed by James Gunn. I went into this movie with pretty mild to no expectations, because of how the first one was received and how the first one was. But I thought that this movie was pretty, basically a step up from the original. We do have a lot of most of the recurring cast come back. I feel that, like, I don't know about you, we'll go full spoiler on here. So for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, pause right now. We're gonna say that right now. It's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling something. But even with the first, I think, 20 minutes of the movie.
Oh, right off the bat, action. And
dude, characters just dropping, and I had, going into the movie, I had my picks of who was gonna survive, and I was wrong for most of them. Nathan Fillion, the attachable kid character, gone. Pete Davidson shot in the face as dude, I can't stand him, and I'm glad it happened in the movie. He is my Kevin Hart. Gone. Javelin, which I thought was gonna be one that makes it, gone. Boomerang broke my heart, gone. Like, there was just so much happening at the beginning of that movie. But moving on, basically they're infiltrating an undisclosed location. They send in a new team. We meet Bloodsport, which, dude, Idris Elba. I did not think he was gonna do that good of a job in the role, and he just blew me away in it. Because I know originally that he said he didn't want to, because they were gonna recast Deadshot.
Yeah.
Because of the contract obligations that Will Smith had. But him being that character is just amazing. John Cena, completely funny for some reason. I never saw this side of John Cena before, because we're in the PG era of wrestling, and you don't hear those kind of things come out of his mouth. But him as Peacemaker, an astounding job. We have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn again. She was killer. And we got Starro. But the spotlight of the movie for me was King Shark.
King Shark, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like King Shark. I really enjoyed the movie, like you said, even to, I think some other good characters too, like you mentioned. Like, obviously you mentioned quite a few, but I do like the others as well. I liked Ratcatcher, or known as Ratcatcher 2.
Yes.
Like you just mentioned King Shark, the Polka Dot Man. I thought it was interesting. Who would have thought a character of Polka Dots would get a big part in the movie, and he was funny. I thought the whole thing was funny, and even like we said, Viola Davis does a good job. She did a great job as Amanda Waller. You know, she definitely makes you hate the character.
Yeah, if you can make like a whole audience hate you, you're doing your job.
Yeah, and even too how you mentioned John Cena, which I don't care for John Cena, but I'm a wrestling fan, so I wore the closest thing to a Suicide Squad shirt, because I'll give it to him. I thought he did a good job as Peacemaker, and I thought they all did a good job. So, Margot Robbie is great as Harley Quinn, like you said. Idris Elba is Bloodsport. He did a great job. I'm glad they didn't just recast Bloodshot. I'm glad they had Deadshot. I'm glad they did not recast Deadshot. I'm glad they just brought in Bloodsport, introduced us to a new character. And I thought the movie was good. I thought it was fun. And I think James Gunn's style really went well with the Suicide Squad, because obviously when he does Guardians of the Galaxy, I love those movies, so it made me excited to see that he was taking on the Suicide Squad. And for me, it felt like it had that vibe of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is fun, it's action, and then with it being rated R, they can get even more violent, and the language could be even more colorful than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, you definitely. I was gonna say, sorry if I cut you off there, Sonny. There was a pause, but I definitely felt that it was like Guardians of the Galaxy brought into DCEU. Some of like the music, the way they broke segments and cuts, and like was like, oh, this was 5 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier, and they did like the little like leaves on the ground or whatever. It felt, it did feel like the DCU version of Guardians of the Galaxy, but rated R.
Yeah, and I loved it. That's what I wanted. That's what I was hoping when I found out that he was attached to the movie. And like you said, I do like it better than the first.
Yeah, it definitely brought in like more questions on where we're leading into the DCEU with him being attached to certain stories and directing that we don't know about yet. But yeah, like you were alluding to, I do like Ratcatcher too. There was some scrutiny with WB though, as I was reading. There was one scene where WB thought that the James Gunn pushed the line a little too far, even for an R rating. And I want to do this. Can you guess the scene, Sonny? And I will PayPal you $5 if you guys are right. Which scene do you think that WB thought James Gunn went too far on?
The one scene where Peacemaker and Bloodsport are shooting everybody. They're kind of showing off, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And then one of them shoots the guy whose privates are exposed.
I will pay you $5. But yes, that is the one scene that they want. Yep, that's the scene that they wanted to get rid of. For another. No, we're not going to do that because I'll be losing too much money. I'm just kidding. I'm a big fat phony like Sonny said earlier.
I didn't say you were a phony.
Just a liar.
But
there's another scene that James Gunn actually went back and reshot. There was a character that was supposed to die that didn't. So for those who have seen it, the part with Starro where he kills Polka Dot Man, that was originally Ratcatcher 2. And he thought that they pushed that it'd be too heartbreaking for them to do that. So they switched her out with Polka Dot Man, which I do agree with. I wouldn't want to see her die. I would have been so mad at that movie. I would have been like, we're not reviewing it anymore. Sorry, guys. Like,
yeah, I agree. I like the character a lot. I would have been very disappointed if they had killed her. I was still disappointed about Polka Dot Man, but I understand it's a movie. You don't want everybody living. You got to make it a bit dangerous and risky so not everyone lives. But I could see why they would do that.
Yeah, but I got to admit one thing with Polka Dot Man. The thing that made me laugh throughout the whole movie is every time he saw his mom as a character,
oh, yeah.
I was dying. Especially when Idris Elba or Bloodsport was like, look at it. And he's pointing at Star Wars. He's like, it's your mother. And he looks up and she's just like destroying the building.
Yeah, I thought all those parts with that were hilarious. Like I said, when she's destroying it, and then even when he's dancing, and then it shows you his point of view, and it's like he's dancing with all of his mother.
Yeah, or when he was standing there, like, what's wrong with you? And everyone like is in costume standing there, and then it flashes back, and it's just all of his mother in the same costumes as everybody else. But yeah.
Yes, I thought it was good.
No, and then the other crazy one was King Shark who was voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Like the whole that character had me cracking up the whole time, especially when they're at the camp and he's like slowly trying to eat Ratcatcher 2. Idris Elba's just shooting him. And he's like, friends?
Yeah, I really do like the King Shark character. I really like the movie. Actually, the movie itself, just watching it, really made me say, you know what? I really want to learn more about the Suicide Squad. And so now I'm on the hunt. I'm like, I'm going to look into doing some reading of the Suicide Squad. Like the Janus Directive I've heard is good, and the Apocalypse Now. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing some reading, because also, like, now I just watched the movie, and I know some of the characters, but I haven't been following like the Suicide Squad comic books to say like, oh, this is like this character is done really well or not so well. So I was able to really enjoy it. I'm wondering now if I read some comic books, if I'll like it even more, or a little bit less, or possibly the same.
Yeah, I'll send you some recommendations that I've read so far. Throw your way. But yeah, I thought like it's
$5 along with that too.
Yes, I'll pay PayPal. Don't worry. You have PayPal, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll just ship you. I'll ship you the $5. It's okay.
Books.
Right. But yeah, overall, if I had to give this movie a rating, because when I saw the first Suicide Squad, it was like a solid 6 for me. This movie is, I want to give it 8.2. I think feels right. I don't want to give it a solid 8 because I think it did a little bit better than that, but I don't want to go any higher because I thought it was a popcorn flick to me, but it was awesome. It brought the Suicide Squad to be the Suicide Squad, because in the original Suicide Squad there was only 2 deaths. This one, in the first 20 minutes, everyone's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely where you start a movie and grab everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Right there. So for me, so you give it 8.2, I give the Suicide Squad a 9.2.
Ooh.
For me, like I said, it really got me into it. I really enjoyed it. I said I don't want to give super high because I'm like, imagine if I read the comics and it's like so different, but it got me interested as a movie experience. As just a movie experience of watching a movie. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. The action was great. It was funny. I liked the casting. I liked the style of it all. And I'm like, you know what? I really just enjoyed this movie. And now, like I said, now I'm going to be reading more Suicide Squad comic books. So I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that I did watch it, that I didn't wait too long. I watched it, before finding out spoilers and things like that. So I give the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, I give the Suicide Squad 9.2.
Awesome.
And so you gave it 8.2, I give it 9.2. There you go, man. We did it. We did a book review of What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires, and now we did the movie review of the Suicide Squad.
Our very first movie review.
Yeah, and hopefully we have some more along the way. And now we can start closing up the show. And once again, talk about that next week is episode number 10 of the Codex Podcast. We've made it to a milestone.
Yes, we have, and I can't wait. Again, we're going to have the one and only Tim Morris with Decoding Panels on. Episode's going to be a little bit longer. A lot more different segments that maybe everyone's not accustomed to after 10 episodes, but, it's our show. We're going to do it. We are going to... What is the comic we are going over next week, Sonny?
We are going over Spider-Man 17. And it's the one that we know there are many different Spider-Man issues, but that is the one that it does have Thanos. And I heard that it might be something close to an Infinity Gauntlet crossover, but we will see. But it is Spider-Man number 17. And on the cover it has Spider-Man and Thanos. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. I dig the cover. I can't wait to go over it, review it. Definitely can't wait to have Tim's opinion of it on the show. But as always, guys, thank you again for another great episode. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when new episodes are up on YouTube, Spotify, and now Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. So we're on there. Go find us.
That's right. Thank you again. See you guys next week. Maybe I'll even crown myself because, like I said, I am Sonny the King of Comic Books Kruger now.
Oh, Sonny, I stopped the stream, dude.
You ended it?
Yeah, no, no. I just wanted to stop you right there.
Well, there you go, man. That's good. I'm like, it's over? Okay. But yeah, so we'll be talking more about that. We'll go over Spider-Man number 17, which Tim recommended. Of What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires. So I'm looking forward to the next issue he has recommended for us. Episode 10 coming up next week. And now, I say see you guys later. Take care. And now that's an episode.
Have a good one.